Hello friends, welcome back to the Soupier. So I hope you enjoyed my previous video of me driving through some kind of backcountry a little bit when we were having a major snowstorm. This is, not really a major snowstorm. We only got, I don't know if it's a foot or so, not even that. But we got some snow. But anyway, I had to go up to the airport to pick up my brother, bring him to my sister's place where he's staying with us. He's out from Seattle. He's going to be celebrating the Christmas holiday with us, which is amazing. And I'm wishing you guys all a Merry Christmas before I get carried away on a tangent or anything like that. Wishing you guys happy holidays. Thank you all absolutely for your feedback. I'm at 250 subscribers and I'm totally happy about that. So anyway, let me further talk a little bit more about my last video, because I didn't record very much audio. Some of the audio I was hearing was it would cut in and out and stuff. I think that's because I had music playing in the background. So anyway, I'm just kind of giving you guys this video to explain a little bit. There was a major truck that jackknifed a tractor trailer. If any of you guys have ever driven a tractor trailer, my hat's off to you, because that is a thankless and very difficult job. Without these guys, I think they do a lot to help van life as well, indirectly, just being tolerant of us and having all these truck stops and stuff like that. They do a lot of amazing things for van life, so I just want to thank them. But without trucks and stuff like that and people to be hauling things, a lot of our produce and a lot of our products wouldn't be available at our local convenience stores. So that's just something to think about. So again, thank you to those guys. But there was a truck that was jackknifed, and right in the middle of the road, the main road, the throughway where I was coming through, not a throughway, but I don't know if you call it that or not, where the speed limit's like 55, but a truck was off and there were a ton of cars off. So I just kind of jogged to the side, put my Subaru in 4-wheel drive, and just started to, or it was X mode, I'm sorry, because the Subaru is all-wheel drive, which I talk about the differences between 4-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, how I much prefer all-wheel drive on-road, but off-road I like having something 4-wheel drive. Again, all-wheel drive has a computer to switch it in and out of all-wheel drive, and 4-wheel drive you manually typically shift into 4-wheel drive. So from what my take is, I like all-wheel drive. It's better for off-road than all-wheel drive, which is usually better for on-road. Two completely different 4-wheel drive systems. I'm not going to get into it. Today, since we're talking about cars, I wanted to talk a little bit about the hybrid Sienna and the different generations of Siennas. So when I got into looking at, let me back up real quick. I was driving around with my Subaru, because I have a Subaru Outback as well that I drive a lot in the wintertime. And that was the original vehicle I was going to do some van lifing in. Unfortunately, I'm a taller guy, and doing van life in a Subaru really was small for me. I mean, the Subaru wasn't very big, so I ended up going for something a little bit bigger that I can just completely deck out. And the Subaru is still a daily use driver for me. I use my van as a daily use driver as well. So the Subaru is also used by a family member of mine. So to make a long story short, I didn't fit in there, and I felt a little claustrophobic. You guys know from my previous videos, I get just a little bit claustrophobic. Not bad or anything like that, but in a Subaru, it was a little bit cramped. So I was like, well, okay, got to do something a little bit different. Maybe for you guys it's perfect, and I'm not hating on Subarus. They're great in the snow. So I was driving home in my Subaru, just the back roads and stuff like that. So fast forward, I was looking for a van with more, cargo room in it, something with a little bit more space. And I can't afford a brand new Sprinter. Those decked out are amazing vehicles. Just not my cup of tea. I like to go with something that's really cost effective. And I was looking through everything, what's reliable, what's cost effective. And to make a long story short, my father, he used to camp in the back of his minivan for a little bit. And it was an original Dodge Grand Caravan. and it was like a 92 or a 93, and it was all-wheel drive. And that thing was amazing in the snow. I mean, it was like it was on tracks or something like that, like a dozer. It would just go through anything. It had rotted out so much. He used to haul cordwood to people in the back of this thing. He ended up selling this van. I don't know if it was the original transmission. I know it was the original engine. I know it was in a wreck. He nailed a deer or two with it. Like I remember his side door ended up breaking off somehow, or maybe, I'm sorry, the window smashed out and they had to replace it because it was a different color for a long time. But this 92 Grand Caravan, I mean, it was rusty and it was junk, but it ended up having, I think when he said he traded it in, it almost had 400,000 miles on it, and I believe it. The amount of stuff, he had this minivan for probably 14 years. And it got terrible gas mileage compared to vehicles nowadays. I think he was getting only like 16 or something like that with it. I don't know what size engine it had. It was a Grand Caravan, so it might have had the 3.9 liter. Same one as the Dodge Dakota, I think. I'm probably wrong on that, but it might have had a smaller one, like a 3.3. I don't know if they make that or not, 3.6 or something like. But anyway, it lasted forever, and it was a great vehicle. He beat the tar out of it. And almost 400,000 miles, that's really good for a Dodge Grand Caravan. Now, Dodge stopped making, if I'm not mistaken, all-wheel drive Caravans, which blew my mind. So when I was looking for a Caravan, I was originally looking for Dodges, but I could only find ones that were all-wheel drive that were old, that were really old. And I'm like, I really need something that's all-wheel drive. That's what disqualified the Grand Caravan. Plus, I know some of the Grand Caravans might have reliability issues. The Honda Odysseys, I heard they had transmission issues. Personally, I had a Honda Ridgeline that I towed my camper cross country with. I had a small Airstream base camp, and I towed it cross country with my Honda Ridgeline, and it did a very good job towing it, by the way. And I had a cap on the back, and I traveled all across the United States for like 6 months. I just lived as a vagabond, and it was great. So, moving forward from that, excuse me, Moving forward from that, I decided to settle on a Sienna. And I was looking at the Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, or possibly like a newer Gen 4. Now, the original Sienna, the first generation, I don't know how many, I think they might have made them all-wheel drive, if I'm not mistaken. I think the majority of them were two-wheel drive, but they might have had some all-wheel drive models. Again, I'm just going off the top of my head. But I know they had about 135 square feet, about 133 square feet, or cubic feet inside of cargo room. And that's a lot of room, and that's awesome. It's a lot more room than a lot of the other minivans. Now, getting into like a Generation 2 Sienna has about 149 square cubic feet of cargo room in the back. And a third generation has 150 cubic feet of storage room in the back, the Gen 3. Now, I've heard a couple different sources say that the brand new fourth generation ones only have like 100 square feet or something crazy like that because they're hybrid and they need room for the batteries. I can't corroborate that. I have no idea. I've looked and I've seen many different sources say different things. So, again, the Gen 3 kind of won it for me. Plus, I found a really good deal on mine. And I was very happy with it. That's why I got in. That's why I bought mine and started decking it out and everything like that. So the Siennas are one of the most spacious minivans on the market. I think minivans are slowly making a comeback, which is cool. I mean, I have a group of teenagers, and I just talk their ear off about exploring and going out and seeing things in my van, and because I'm a teacher. So, I work at a vocational school, so we're always talking about, I have kids in forestry, automotive tech, auto body, power equipment, heavy equipment, stuff like that. So I'm always talking to these kids about, things I've seen in van life and just kind of going cross country. And they're wondering how they can do it, affordably. And it's kind of like a new hip trend for a lot of these kids. I know a lot of these kids that are like Boy Scouts and they'll go out and camp in a tent in the snow. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy. Like, why don't you guys think about buying your first car? But it seems like a lot of, and I'm not trying to hate on younger generations at all, but, it's been happening throughout time where, you got to have the fastest car with the big slicks on the back with a nice hopped up engine or something like that where it can go really fast. Or now kids are getting into these big diesel trucks, at least where I'm from. They want these really big, $100,000 lifted vehicle. And I'm like, look, man. My first vehicle was a piece of junk Dodge Dakota. It had a 4-cylinder in it, bench seat, didn't even have power steering, and it had a standard. It was just a regular cab with a 6-foot bed, nothing special. Dodge Dakota, but it got me from point A to point B. I picked it up for $500 off of a friend of mine, and it was in decent shape, and I drove it for about another 90,000 miles, and I mean, that thing was falling apart. But that was my first vehicle, just some junky little truck. And now kids these days, I think, are wanting to spend a lot of money on a vehicle or they want to fix something up. And, a lot of times fixing up a vehicle is so expensive. That's why I try to talk them into buying a minivan or something like that, because you can buy a minivan and your insurance won't be nearly as much. I noticed my Subaru's insurance was a lot more than my minivan, actually about a $65 a year or a $65 a month difference, which is pretty expensive when you think about it. Again, I don't have any serious driving record, a speeding ticket here and there, but that's that. So I'm trying to talk kids into getting these, and they're decking them out, and I get them into these, hey, check out this guy on YouTube, or check out this van life and stuff like that. And a lot of these kids are eating it up. So it's really cool to kind of, harness that interest with these guys and get them interested. So that's another reason why I'm, doing what I do. So yeah, I chose my minivan, and it's a 2012, and I'm very happy with it. So when it comes to newer hybrids, I've driven the Toyota RAV4. That's a hybrid, and that's a really cool vehicle. All I know is that it's pretty cold. It's a very cold. It takes a while to heat up, and batteries. I love the idea of electric vehicles and hybrids. They weigh significantly more, and they go through tires quicker, from what I understand. Would I own one though? I mean, it's a great idea, but for the price you pay and the cargo room that you forego, I don't think it would be worth it, in my opinion. This is just me, of course. I love the idea of having it. I just don't think the battery technology and everything is there yet. Now, these newer Siennas have some amazing features on them, which, I mean, I was drooling. I was like, this is some cool stuff. I know Sienna, believe it or not, they have a couple of different trim packages that a lot of people don't know about, which is the SE model. That's the Sport Edition. That comes with a hyped up engine in it that produces, I think, like 40 more horsepower, which is pretty cool. And it's got like a different set of rims and like ground effects on it. That is really cool, and the interior is different. That is a really cool, trying to bring sportiness to van life. I think that's awesome. I don't know if they're all-wheel drive or not. I doubt it, because they're more sporty and they want to look more kind of like to appeal to the younger crowds. But they also have the Toyota Sienna L, which is your base model. It's kind of like your cut down bare bones. And that's actually what I was looking for. And I actually found one on, what was it? Carvana. And it was, I think, almost $30,000. And it was a really nice van. It was like a 2020. And it had, I think, like 18,000 miles on it. And it was a Sienna L. I mean, basic, bare bones. It doesn't even have a center console in it. So, that would be pretty cool. When it comes to van life, you want vans that don't have a lot of options in it because you're going to be modifying stuff all the time. And the more options that you have on a vehicle, the less you can modify. Now, like I ended up ripping my center console out. I wanted a Sienna that had a manual passenger seat in case if I ever wanted to get a swivel seat. I've seen a guy on YouTube do the swivel seat, and that is really cool. And I am really sad that they haven't come out with something that allows for like a Sienna to swivel the way a Sprinter does. That's one thing that makes Sprinters infinitely more amazing, is that you can use that front seat. You can use that space for like a nice front seat lounge chair or something like that, which is cool. I know you can reverse the seat. I've seen people do that. But I don't want to leave it there because I have people riding with me on occasion. I'll have one other person riding with me. So I don't want to have to unbolt and bolt in the seat every time I twist it like that. Plus, I know there's an airbag or some electronics down there that might prevent you from doing so. But this guy on YouTube, I saw him custom fabricate a swivel seat for the Sienna, and I thought that was really cool. I think it was the same generation as mine, too. So yeah, that's just my quick take on, why I chose my Sienna, a little bit of backstory for my previous video and everything else. So, again, happy holidays. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, thank you so much for your amazing support. I really appreciate you guys. I really hope you know that. We're getting hammered on snow right now. I'm going to finish up my... I've got a couple other things I want to talk about in my next couple videos. So I'm sorry I'm not in my Sienna shooting any videos or outside, but it's like snowing out there. It looks like a bunch of Dippin' Dots coming down. So thanks again for everything you guys do, and take care. Thanks for watching.